How safe is the street food in Myanmar? Myanmar has around 70,000 street food vendors. Who is inspecting them? The food culture in Myanmar is fantastic, everything from the tea houses to the wet markets. But there is a side of the food culture in Myanmar that we don't talk about: food safety. Hello everyone, it's Asian Anthony, and in this video, Myanmar's food and safety regulations. In the year 2024, there was a study done at Yangon University of Economics that found about 90% of the street vendors in Myanmar had no health inspections or medical examinations of any type at any time. This is a huge problem because, as I said before, there's about 70,000 street vendors. So what exactly is going wrong? Okay. And you can see the problems when you just go to any restaurant or any street food vendor place. You see the food is sitting uncovered, flies and insects around the food. The dust and pollution from the traffic in the cars are also flying into the food. You see workers handling your money and then handling your food with the same unwashed hands. You see food sitting out for a long time. You see limited refrigeration. So a lot of food is just sitting out in the sun, not hot, not cold, just spoiling. You see dirty utensils, dirty spoons and forks being reused. You also see people cleaning these dishes with dirty water because there's limited access to clean water. And there are many other problems, but poor hygiene can allow bacteria, viruses, and parasites to contaminate the food. Parasites can survive in the human body for years, even decades, after you eat the food. So just because you have not gotten sick yet does not mean you will never get sick. So let's talk about it. What happens when you eat contaminated food? Now this is where the food safety becomes much more serious. Because for an adult, food poisoning just means a terrible day or two. Okay, you vomiting, maybe diarrhea. These are short-term effects. But repeated infections can be far more serious, especially for young children. Now, when a child gets food poisoning repeatedly over and over again, this can have serious complications in the long term, including like kidney damage, neurological problems, and other chronic health problems. And it works like this: contaminated food leads to diarrhea. Diarrhea leads to poor nutrient absorption. Poor nutrient absorption leads to malnutrition, which leads to weaker resistance to infection, which leads to more illness. This has a medical cost in the long run as well. Just because you have not gotten sick yet from street food does not mean you will never get sick. In the year 2024, Yangon University ran a study that implied that about 7% of the children in Myanmar had experienced food poisoning in just that year, okay, 7%. Now that is a huge number, but like I said, today, in the short term, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of problems, but in the long term, there could be serious health consequences for adults as well. For example, there is a fish-borne fluke in Myanmar that can cause chronic inflammation in the short run, but in the long run, it could cause something called bile duct cancer. And this is just from repeatedly eating this contaminated fish that has not been stored or cooked properly. Now, Myanmar does not have a legalized national food and safety assessment body or any type of risk assessment system covering the entire food chain. So this means that underreporting in Myanmar is very common. So we don't really know how many children and how many people are getting food poisoning or getting sick from these street vendors because there isn't a good way to keep track of the data. So in the short term, what can Myanmar actually do? First, start washing your hands, okay? And gloves are not a replacement for washing your hands. Second, we need access to clean water. Third, The food needs to be stored at safe temperatures. You can't just leave your meat hanging in the sun all day and just feeding it to people after it's been crawled on by bugs and bees and flies and mosquitoes and everything else. Okay? Myanmar needs regular food safety inspections and maybe even a simple certification system so customers can identify the businesses that meet the safety standards.